So the Indiana Fever have had their second day of preseason, and we're going to be talking about what we learned, or pre-training camp, preseason, same difference. We're going to be talking about what we have learned from day 2 of training camp. Because again, look, we're going to get some ideas of what's going on in training camp. We're going to get a lot more ideas of what's going on in preseason, in the preseason games, and we're going to get a lot of ideas about what's going on once the season starts. Because again, no one's showing their hand really in preseason. However, I will say there are things that we most definitely have learned from these 2 days of preseason, and I will be talking a little bit more about that as time goes on. Or I will be talking about a lot more about individual things, because obviously, look, it is 1 o'clock in the morning. I need to get this video recorded, go to sleep, and I'm going to get up early in the morning and talk about some things more in depth when I watch more of the footage back. But obviously, let's take a look at the footage from the Fever. Just a bit of quick footage. Training camp day 2 intensity, 25 seconds. Let's take a look.
It's the most talented roster I've been a part of. With the new atmosphere, new coaching, everything is just absolutely new. It feels really good. We have so much great personality on this team. That's what's going to make it fun. That's what fans are going to love to watch about us. We're going to have a lot of fun playing basketball, and you embrace that about your teammates as well.
So yeah, just quick footage there from what we saw. So there were only a few clips because Scott Agnes he kind of spoke through and showed some of the interviews and showed like bits and pieces of what was going on. But what we can see is we can see from looking at this who is on what team. So if you guys do not know, yellow team is like quote unquote starter team. So they've got 7 on yellow team. On what you call it team, on gray team is the bench team. So obviously the 2 bench players got moved to bench team, and then the 2 players that got brought up were Damaris Dantas, who again expected to be in a rotation, and Sid Colson got brought up. So Sid Colson got brought up today, which means one thing, which I did not think. I have a weird prediction that Sophie Cunningham's going to play backup point guard. Like, just from what I've seen, because she can play the backup point guard. She played everywhere for Phoenix. She literally played all 5 positions for them. And I think she can play the backup point guard and is a better basketball player than Colson. But the one player that has been left out that was expected to be in the rotation, that has not yet played on quote unquote starter squad, is Lexi Hull. So Lexi Hull could be like in the rotation again. Another thing that we saw was to start the game in this, if you're looking early on, when they go into the game, the starters are the starters, but Brie Hall is actually on the floor for bench team to start off this, which means obviously, like, again, when yesterday it was Jaylen Brown was starting for bench team and Michaela Timpson was starting for bench team as well. However, it was Bree Turner with Sophie Cunningham playing the 4, Lexi Hull the 3. Well, Lexi Hull maybe, or I don't even know if Sophie Cunningham or Bree Hall playing the 4. And then I'm guessing actually Sophie Cunningham probably ran the 1 for bench team. Yeah, Sophie Cunningham probably did run the 1 with Hall, and who was the 5th player actually? I'm forgetting someone that's like actually in the rotation that should be there. Bree Turner is in there. Obviously, this is the end the game. Hull's on the floor. Michaela Timpson is there on the floor. Oh, wow. Big shot there by Kelsey Mitchell. But, yeah, so, again, one thing we did learn is that it does appear that Lexi Hull, maybe, to start off the season. And, again, look, everything's subject to change when it comes to over the course of the season. We all know that. But it does appear that, as of right now, Lexi Hull is going to be quite low in that rotation, which is to be expected. However, it'll be interesting to see, again, between her and, well, like, it's, if Bree Hall is going to make the team, it's going to be having to outgun Lexi Hull. And we've seen her miss a few layups. We've seen her get cooked by Caitlin Clark. Like, we have seen her get absolutely cooked. Anytime Lexi tried to guard Caitlin, she's gotten cooked. And I know there's selective footage, but the selective footage of the first 2 days of training camp is just like we've basically seen Lexi Hull get cooked on every second possession by somebody different, and we've seen poor defensive rotations. We've seen her miss open layups in a layup line, which again, it happens. We've seen her only attack to the basket getting swatted by Natasha Howard. So again, so far just from the footage, it has not been pretty for Lexi Hull so far. But yeah, it's another interesting thing is they went today with Caitlin at the 2 or Coulson at the 2. But the two of them kind of running together. However, the starters barely won today. If you guys saw the game, the starters, they won in the end versus the bench. Sometimes the bench is going to win, but the starters blitzed them yesterday. Absolutely blitzed the bench lineup. And the fact that it was closer, again, shows maybe the starting lineup isn't as clicking as well as it was. Well, maybe the bench lineup's just gotten better, to be fair. Like, moving Sophie Cunningham into that bench lineup is huge. And in fairness, Bree Turner is going to be a pest on the inside versus Damaris Dantas. Like, there's no real rim protection there in Dantas. There's no real, like it's not even an attempt to guard. There's just layups being ran in a lot of the time with Dantas. But at least with Bree Turner, who is an elite defender, a lot of good things could come out of that. But obviously, when it comes to this Fever team, you're never going to fully understand early, but you can kind of start to get more ideas. The last spot on this team is almost certainly going to be between Michaela Timpson and Bree Hall. That is the match. That is the battle is between Timpson and Bree Hall. Gillia Lane, just anytime, just even a clips you see her, does not look like she's at the races. Yvonne Ejim has actually looked okay for any time I've seen. She looks like she's done okay. She's looked like maybe she'll be good enough that later on down the line, after a couple of years overseas, the Fever might be interested in bringing her back. And as well as that, if you look at, say, if you're looking at Jaylen Brown, like 70% of the bad clips from day one involve Coulson and Jaylen Brown. But Coulson, who I did not think was going to be fully in the rotation, looks to be playing with starter team. They had her on the floor with Caitlin Clark quite a bit. So I'm like, okay, maybe she will be playing a little bit more than expected. To be fair, very much like the way they paid her and brought her in, they probably aren't going to bring her in for vibes. But I do think by the end of the year, maybe, unless it's very situational, I can't see Coulson playing too many minutes outside of like 5-minute stretches to try just be a pest and just annoy a team's point guard. But anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.